What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Love and Rice podcast, hosted by Aunt Ma and host Christina Ma. I hope you guys have been enjoying these episodes that we've been releasing, a few times a week, actually. And make sure to follow us on all the podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, and anywhere else that you actually listen to podcast platforms. And I want to hear where you guys do listen to them, so drop them down in the comments down below. And also let us know what topics you guys want to see talk about. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how important it is to teach our kids the Asian culture. And as I was growing up, a lot of that was ingrained into me. And some of it was by, I had to do lion dance and kung fu since I was like 5 years old, all the way to college. That was probably one of the biggest things. Also, my parents are so involved in being in the Chinatown community that I was there literally every week.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's very important to teach your children like your culture, because it kind of gives them it gives them a better idea of like their identity.
Yeah.
So then they can understand why they were raised a certain way or why there are certain beliefs like within your families.
Do you think that being around the community helps that, or do they not need to be?
I think they should be around the community.
Yeah, because I think, for example, me being in Chinatown all the time, and when I grew up, I was in a more of a white dominant elementary school. And so when I moved from Glendale to Arcadia, it was a culture shock for me. And I was like, wow, there's so many Asian people, and everyone knows about red envelopes and chicken feed and all these things.
Yeah.
Right? So I wasn't just the weird one in elementary school. And so being around the Asian community, I feel like it's definitely helped me grow, because I see the difference between me and my brothers who grew up in Glendale their whole life.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm the one that makes all this Chinese food. They make more Americanized food.
Right.
Right. So it's just simple things like that. And like now I can pass on the traditions to my kids or our kids about, Chinese food, comfort foods, stuff like that.
Yeah. And I just feel like growing up, being a kid and then becoming a teenager, like you're always trying to find out like who you are.
Yeah.
And I feel like just having that sense of culture just is kind of like a safe place for you to be in.
Well, growing up in a white elementary school, I was picked on a lot, right? And so being in an Asian community, I was not picked on for being Asian. I was just picked on for being small.
Oh,
right?
I knew that was coming.
So, no one ever said like, oh, look at this Chinese guy, and they don't do these racist remarks or pull their eyes or anything like that. It's more just like,
they're just looking at
people.
you like, who are you and why do you look different? Kind of.
What, in elementary school?
Yeah.
No, they were doing,
they were doing that. You're talking about when you went to your high school,
right,
with mostly Asian people.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just more about who's a cooler Asian.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I don't think it matters too much about what school or where you live. I think it's about how the parents teach the kids, because you can have the fobbiest kids growing up if you teach them nothing but Asian stuff,
right,
even in a white dominant area.
Yeah. And I think also just teaching your kids about the culture, like it helps them to build character, and it kind of helps them to be a better person. So I remember growing up, I used to always get picked on all the time for being Chinese, and there weren't a lot of Asians in my school as well. So I guess there were two different groups of Asians that were there. So it was either like the fobby ones that you're talking about that I couldn't really relate to.
Yeah.
And then there were like the normal or the cooler ones, which I was around more often. But
the fobby ones don't even want to talk to you anyway.
Yeah, like they're just in their own circle because they're just speaking their own language and doing their own thing because that's what their parents got them accustomed to.
You think that they don't trust us? Or they're just like, look at these spoiled American kids.
I have no idea. And I feel like it just all goes back to the way that your parents raise you.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to teach them culture and to teach them to be proud of their upbringing.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of times where I kind of, would compare myself to other people. And I wasn't too proud of where I came from.
Yeah.
But I think as I got older, I started to understand why we did certain things and why we have certain beliefs. And I think the older that I got, I started to be more proud of it.
What are some ways that your parents taught you, the culture that you think you will show the kids?
One thing that my parents always ingrained in me was to always respect your elders.
Okay.
Yeah, so that kind of ties into just being respectful towards not just like your grandparents, but your uncles and aunties, and I guess like just your peers who are older than you. And just having like better mannerisms. And it kind of goes into like Chinese New Year, for example, because you're teaching them to be presentable, to be respectful, but to also like earn the red envelopes and not just to have stuff being given to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. Like you got to work for it, right? You got to say Gong Hei Fa Choi to all the adults. You got to say, Sunny Fai Lo, and really wish the elders a happy new year. Like you mean it.
Right.
Not just be like, Gong Hei Fa Choi, where's my money?
Yeah, I remember I would get in trouble whenever I would do that. I would just go to someone, I'd be like, oh, Gong Hei Fa Choi. Or like, hey, where's my red envelope? And they'd be like, no, that's not how you do it.
Right.
So just teaching them the principles of things and that you have to like follow certain rules or protocols to be able to be rewarded with something.
I think some major key moments that I want to bring down to the kids is the red envelopes.
Yeah.
Chinese New Year meals, meaning that we wake up early and we have a full breakfast, like as if it was dinner.
Yeah.
We have that for breakfast. Those are things you don't have normally. And I would love for them to, they're already kind of normalized with that because we do it now.
Yeah. And I didn't really get this growing up, but like just reading Chinese books with them right now, because your parents always give us a lot of like ABC books, right? So it's always showing like Chinese words and then translation in English and stuff. And I feel like these are the books that the kids keep bringing to me to read during the bedtime. And
why is that?
I don't know. I feel like they're they're like sponges, right? So right now they're so young. They kind of just want to learn everything. But the fact that they're so fascinated with wanting to learn Chinese words, I'm just like, that's pretty cool.
I know they like it. I want to understand, like, for me as a kid, I like Chinese stuff, but not until I got older when I realized it's special.
Yeah.
It's special to get the red envelopes. It's special to have these Chinese comics,
Yeah, even with like Chinese food and stuff too. Like we just had dim sum, right?
Yeah.
And the kids, I always like to test their knowledge, and I was just asking both of them. I was asking Leanne, and so one at a time I said, hey, do you remember what all of these foods are called? And I tested all of them, and they almost got all of them right. Like they were just naming every single thing in Chinese, and then if they didn't know, I would teach them how to say it in Chinese.
Teaching Leia how to eat chicken feet has expanded her taste for a lot of foods.
Yeah.
She's now eating the weirdest foods in the world.
More than us.
Right? Like she's eating fish eyes. She's eating little anchovies.
She likes like the shrimp head, right? The
shrimp
brain.
heads. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She likes escargots.
Right.
She likes clams and mussels. Those are things that I didn't eat at 5 years old.
These kids eat really good.
And it all started with chicken feet.
Exactly.
So I think that the Chinese food really helped her appetite.
Yeah, and I feel like when we were growing up and when we were eating these things and things that kind of smelled different, like we would be made fun of, or we were or at least speaking from my personal experience, like I was embarrassed. Like if I was eating something that someone didn't know what it was, like if I were eating chicken feet, I don't think I would have eaten it in front of people because I would feel so worried about them like judging me and stuff.
So we might run into this issue in the future.
Right.
Like right now, she has no idea. She just thinks it's normal.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe in about 5 more years, she might start to feel that. So we have to teach her that it's okay if other people don't like it, but they shouldn't make fun of you for it and you shouldn't feel bad about it.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's good that we're starting them so young because they are already proud of it. So if that does happen, they kind of have like a better understanding and you can just touch on that.
I think it is going to happen because it's happened to me. You know what I mean? Like I ate what Leia ate when she was young, like chicken feet and duck feet, right? But when I got to like elementary school, in the older years of elementary school, like 5th grade, 6th grade, that's when I started getting embarrassed. Okay. There's nothing you can do about it. That's when you just start learning like how to be cool.
Yeah. I also feel though that schools are much better when it comes to different cultures now. So there's not so much of a culture shock when different students from different backgrounds come together. Because even at Leia's school now, they have parents of like the students from different backgrounds coming into the school and asking them to volunteer, like to bring certain foods that you make at home, to share with the class and to talk about like Chinese New Year, for example. Like we had her teacher ask us if, you know, we wanted to come in to like make a presentation. We were thinking about like giving red envelopes to all of the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like schools are making more of an effort.
I think even just every culture and every race is as well.
Yes.
So like anytime we go eat dim sum, I'll see a white family or a Mexican family, right? And then we'll go eat some pho and I'll see another Hispanic family eating pho. You know, and like I see all kinds of life eating pho now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's more about the families who are open to the Asian culture and eating our foods that will actually help our kids.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think we just have to keep teaching our kids to not, I guess, to just fully embrace like who you are.
That's the trick. It's like, how do we get them to make them feel special and good about it? So when someone says, ew, what are you eating? Or why do you do that? You know, like I want to teach them like, hey, why are you making fun of me? I am Chinese and I like this.
This is what I eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's maybe a lot more of discipline and pride. And that might come with like martial arts.
Yeah. I think maybe martial arts, but I think it's just also educating them about things. Because like going back to the books and teaching them about these foods, this made them want to eat it.
Yeah.
This made them more familiar with it. And when we have people coming in to eat with us, like from different backgrounds, you know, they'll just be like, oh, you want some of this? Like, do you know what this is? Like, they're actually trying to teach other people what these foods are. So rather than like trying to hide what they're eating, they're actually embracing it and kind of like trying to share the experience with other people.
I just thought of this idea. So there's a lot of books that teach kids about the Asian culture.
Yeah.
So, you know, like the Three Bears and the Goldilocks story, right? There's one of the three pandas. Is it the three pandas? Three pandas. And
it is the three pandas in Goldilocks.
And
so
Goldilocks.
Instead of bears, it's pandas.
So like, you know, she goes and eats everyone's porridge, you know. And
they make turnip cakes for the new year.
Yeah.
And hand out red envelopes.
Which is really cool. But what if there were books about someone who's not Asian and saying in the book, what's that? You know, and then trying to maybe make a remark about it. And then the Asian kid says, this is what I do. And then they're like, you know, like you're in the book, the Asian kid is teaching the non-Asian kid.
Yeah. I mean, there might be books out there that we just don't know about.
If not,
but
maybe
that's
we
actually
should write
a great
one.
idea.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it kind of like puts out certain scenarios because these are realistic scenarios that will probably most likely happen.
Yeah.
So for them to see that and see that example that's set there, like I think that's
right. So through the books, they'll, you know, like right now, Leia reads books and she reads them because she memorizes every single word, every picture, and she knows all the books by heart.
Right.
So if she memorized teaching non-Asians about their culture, like she would be in a very good situation instead of getting picked on in the future.
Yeah. And that's a good example too for us to actually try to teach them these things too before it happens.
I'm definitely going to try my hardest to really ingrain the culture on them. So right now we live in Vegas and there's not much of the Asian culture here like there is in LA, right? You don't have lion dance groups. You don't have like just a lot of things here.
I feel like they probably do. We're just probably not around it. But I think they did have like Chinese New Year celebrations like in some of the hotels nearby.
Yeah, which is great, but that's like I want them to be active in it.
Yeah,
you know?
like how
I want them to
you
be
were
a
growing
part
up.
of it.
Yeah.
You know, I want them to learn how to play those drums and cymbals and things like that.
So I think that goes back into the way that we raise them because we're not too far from Chinatown. So if that's the closest thing that we can do, you know, we would just have to take them out there, kind of show them around. Because I remember when I was a kid too, my parents used to take me to Chinatown for like everything.
Yeah.
There were always like little festivals that they would have, little celebrations, just going there for like the shopping experience because it's kind of like a swap meet in a way. I don't know if it's like that out here. But you know, just introducing them to all of that.
That's so last year there's a Chinese New Year parade in Chinatown, right? In LA.
Yeah.
And I was like, we were living here in Vegas, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
we have to go to LA and really experience a parade for them,
Yeah.
you know, and they loved it. You
They
know?
did. They did. And we actually left one of our close friends' baby showers or their son's birthday just so that we can make it to this Chinese New Year festival. And I know that this was specifically your purpose because you wanted them to be able to like experience what you did growing up.
Yeah, and I think we should do this every year.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually there. As much as they didn't want to leave the party, they had so much more fun out there.
Yeah.
And they just like really enjoyed it more than I expected them to at their age.
Yeah, they loved it. I mean, they saw the lion dance part of the parade, and then after that, when we went shopping at all the street vendors, they ended up getting little lion dance toys.
That was so
you know,
cute.
which is dope.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're always gonna have that toy in their room, and you know, it's something that they gravitate towards a lot.
Yeah, and I think did we also go to like a big family reunion dinner
We did
at that time too?
Yep.
And I thought that was kind of cool for her to be able to see all of her cousins and your family and just being able to like be around everyone from the same culture and sharing
Yeah.
those same experiences. And then everyone was also going around passing out red envelopes too. So I thought
Yeah.
that was pretty cool that they actually got to experience
This
that.
is where it comes hard work for us because we have to upkeep that and be
Yeah.
consistent,
Right.
or else as a child you forget. You know, like you can go to Chinese school for 10 years, and then the year you don't go, you're going to forget all your Chinese.
Yeah, and I was so good in Chinese school. Like I was in the same grade with my older brothers, and they stayed back, and I ended up being like in the same grade as them,
Yeah.
and they never wanted to progress. And I don't know why we stopped going, but I felt like that was one regret that I have growing up because my Chinese is very like it's like broken,
Yeah.
it's like Chinglish, and that's one thing that I wish that stuck with me. And hopefully, when the kids are older, we can put them in Chinese school too, so they can keep that language.
That would be dope.
I think this is such an important topic, not just for like Asian Americans, but I feel like just all different backgrounds because culture is such an important factor, like for anyone just growing up. And you know, if you guys have any experiences, you have any comments that or tips that you want to share with us and with the audience too, drop a comment below because I feel like it's such an important thing.
Yep. And let us know what is your favorite Asian tradition and that what you do with your family. I want to know all that stuff. So guys, please subscribe and follow on all of the podcast platforms and on YouTube. And we'll see you guys next time on Love and Rice.